Welcome to Film Feast.
We're two sister grill masters, watch a movie, yap about it, and then make two recipes inspired by it. In today's episode, we're talking all about the 1994 classic, The Mask.
Oh yeah. If you haven't seen the movie, basically what it's about is a middle-aged loser.
Aww.
He doesn't have a lot of confidence. He's not good with the ladies. He's got like a lame job. It's such a weird concept. He randomly discovers this mask that has mystical powers. They don't really explain why it has mystical powers.
I know.
I'm kind of giving away the movie if you haven't seen it, spoiler. But
1994, if you haven't seen it, I'm pretty sure we're allowed to do spoilers.
So then he gets this mask, and then it gives him these powers when he puts it on, and that's pretty much the premise of the movie.
Cool concept, though.
Yeah.
Cool, interesting concept.
Yes.
You never know what's going to happen next. That's
Yeah.
what I like about a movie.
One of Jim Carrey's breakout roles, Cameron Diaz's actual breakout role. Hubba hubba.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a hot second, okay? So, P, what did you make that is inspired by the movie The Mask?
Okay, so there's a part in the movie where a psychologist, I think he's a psychologist, is explaining that in life, human beings all wear different masks, okay?
True.
So I found this a little bit tricky to make something related to this movie.
So did I. Mine is a stretch. I'm just giving
So
you
is
the
mine.
heads up.
Okay, so I made a steak sandwich,
Ooh.
but its mask is that it's a mushroom.
Okay, no, very, very creative.
Okay.
A lot of thought behind it.
It's deep.
She went deep on us, and I'm here for it, okay?
Okay, so the mushroom that I chose to use for this steak sandwich is a lion's mane.
Ooh.
That turns into, now don't come at me in the comments for being like, it's a mushroom, it's not a steak, how is that a steak sandwich? Here we go.
It's wearing a mask, okay?
I can already hear that, and I get it because I'm not normally for a vegetable on a bun and calling it a steak sandwich. I can't stand when vegans do that because there's not protein in a mushroom, so it's like I don't normally do stuff like this.
But if you're having a side of protein, like
Exactly.
a bean side dish.
And that's exactly what I did.
Pop a couple wasabi peas on the side or something.
So in order to turn this mushroom into a steak, I had to make a marinade that's going to give you the same umami flavor and the same color. So I'm using beetroot powder, lots of different delicious savory ingredients.
Here
Vegemite being one of my favorite savory ingredients to give us that like bouillon-y, vegetable-y, salty vibe. And then we're just gonna mix this up. And the trick to using a lion's mane mushroom and to getting that like really nice steak-like texture is to take the mushroom and really press it down when it's on the grill.
Oh, okay, so not slice it. You're
Not slice it
pressing
yet.
the entire thing.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can use a cast iron for this, get it really nice and hot. I'm not a huge fan of cast iron. I have shared that before. Whatever.
You're on your own, pal. You're on your own.
Okay, so you just take your mushroom and put it in a little bit of oil over direct heat, either on the stove or on the grill. And then I'm using a burger masher that Barbecue Pops made me.
I love a dual purpose thing. It ain't just for burgers.
No.
It's for shrooms too.
It's for shrooms, and this one's mine because it's got my name engraved on the underside.
Go Barbecue Pops.
Very beautiful, very special. How many people have their own smasher that has their
I
name
do.
underneath?
I'm also your sister.
You are. Okay, so you just take a smasher. You can use a spatula too if you don't have this.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, a lot of people are like obsessed with using lion's mane mushrooms in the place of meat. Like I said, I've never been interested in trying this because there's no protein to it. And I was like, who cares if the texture is going to be the same, like whatever. But it was very astounding to me.
Really?
Yes, because mushrooms do have that like umami flavor in themselves. And lion's mane mushroom do have a very unique, chewy texture.
Like, so you haven't had steak in a number of years, but did it mimic like a steak type vibe?
It did.
Okay. See, then that's like, to me, even though it's just going to be a very flavorful, low protein sandwich.
Yeah.
It's still going to be worth it though, because sometimes you want the flavor, you want the texture.
Exactly. And that's what this steak sandwich.
Have a side of tofu and call it a day, okay?
Exactly. It's fun to make. It looks like a steak. If you want to trick some people into thinking that they're eating a steak, but they're like, if you want to trick some of your non-vegan friends and be like, oh, what is this?
Are these expensive? Like, why is there only 2 in here?
They're
There's like
expensive.
2.5 shrooms in here.
They're very expensive. So this is 1/4 pound of lion's mane mushroom, and that was $6.99.
What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? It is like a steak sandwich in a mask.
It is, and they're hard to get your hands on. So I got these through an organic grocery delivery service.
Okay, cool like char on the outside. That's a really nice sear.
Yes. And so then we take that marinade, that meaty marinade, and so that looks like a lot, right?
Yeah,
it looks
it
like it's
did.
like soupy. You're like, what is this?
It's going to reduce on down.
You want to reduce it down and let it cook and continue to flip it, swirl it around, because you want that sauce to reduce down and cling to that mushroom and give it a lot of flavor.
Stickiness, does it give it like a sticky, like barbecue type vibe, barbecue sauce type vibe?
It does give it like a stickiness, but you also, since it is a mushroom and lion's mane mushrooms have a lot of folds in them, it penetrates in there.
Ooh, okay.
So wait till you see when I slice it. It is kind of like a mind F. And it is quite...
Okay, so you are going to slice it.
I am going to slice it. I'm not just going to put this
But
on...
that is like a steak sandwich. You ain't putting a whole steak on a sandwich, so you basically are just exactly making it like a real steak sandwich.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. So, and you just want to
Look
continue
at that
to...
silky. It turns silky.
Yes.
The sauce, and that really reduced down.
Yeah. I thought this was super, super cool, and I thought that it does already look quite like a piece of meat.
It looks like a bloody mess right now.
It does.
It does.
It does. Look at that. You're telling me that doesn't look like a piece of meat?
I would just want to go with that whole thing.
I
It's
did.
like $5 right there.
Yeah, I did. So here's what it looks like when it comes off the grill.
What are the aromas? Like, what did it smell like?
It smelled like a really savory, salty, like, I don't want to say meaty because it doesn't smell like meat. There's no meat in it. But all those savory ingredients that we've added to the marinade are giving it that, like, stewy, savory flavor.
I feel like the Vegemite would really come alive here.
Yes, look at this.
Okay, that looks insane.
Okay,
man.
so look at the inside.
So there are like folds on the inside of there.
I was dumbfounded.
I'm starving just looking at this.
With the texture and the fact that it has some resistance like a piece of meat.
That's not at all like the shroom before it's cooked. Like a raw shroom ain't gonna be like that texture.
And you can't get this out of a portobello. You're not going to get this from a portobello.
Oh, okay, good point. You have to use these expensive ones.
Yeah, you have to get a lion's mane in order for this to happen because it has the right texture. So normally I don't hollow out bread. I don't get that. I like carbs.
I'm not a fan of this technique. Why are you doing this?
Okay, so the only reason why I'm doing this is because barbecue pops, this is bread that our dad made. And he said if you hollow out the inside, all the fillings don't slide out. And I've never tried that. So I was like, I'm going to try it.
He has said that. I have yet to try it because I don't like wasting it. But you're probably not wasting it. You're probably using that in like an omelet or something later.
I kind of just ate it.
Or just straight up enjoying it on the side.
I just ate it on the side. So we're in a typical steak sandwich type fashion. We got some mayonnaise. I wanted to keep it really simple because I really wanted to try that mushroom on the sandwich. So I didn't want to overdo it with like 800 crazy different toppings and flavors to hide the mushroom.
I don't like a steak sandwich that has a lot going on anyway, because if you're using a nice piece of steak, why are you like loading on the excess stuff? You want to keep it simple, taste those flavors. In this case, we're talking about $6 shrooms here. Like, I'd want to be tasting that and that alone. Ooh, oh, hot peps.
I knew you would love this. Hot peps and onions from my garden.
Sauteed onions too? Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
No, that's literally it.
That's it. I didn't even want any mustard. Sometimes mustard zinginess is like too much.
Drooly just thinking of this.
Yeah, so I was like, this is the perfect thing to make for this movie because of the nature of the movie. So I don't know if you knew this, but believe it or not, Nicolas Cage was almost cast as Stanley Ipkiss.
Absolutely not.
I'm like, I feel like we hate on Nicolas Cage a lot.
Poor Nicolas Cage. Look, he's had some hits, okay?
Not this though.
Not that.
No.
Moonstruck.
Okay.
Moonstruck.
And no one could replace him in that movie.
Con Air.
Yes.
Okay, those are two we gotta add to the list.
Yeah, but he could not have made this movie.
Buddy, that looks like a real steak sandwich.
Doesn't it?
Yes.
The flavors were all there. The texture was there. Like, I haven't had a real steak sandwich in about 6 years, close to 7 years. This was such a textural sensation. I was like, I'm converted. I did have some lupini beans on the side of this lunch.
Throw a bean on the side, throw some peas, throw some tofu, and then you got yourself a well-rounded meal. But yeah, I'm kind of, you know how we always used to say about the protein.
Like, where's the
protein
protein?
I think sometimes you do just want texture, you want flavor, and that's like what this is proving here.
And I did have beans on the side because I will not have a non-balanced meal because I feel like I'll be hungry in like 10 seconds.
For sure.
But it was spectacular. Flavors on point. I did the helicopter hair because it was so good.
Yeah.
I had to do a helicopter
ponytail. You break out the
ponytail.
helicopter hair, you know it's feeling good.
It was absolutely spectacular. I did not regret making that for this movie.
Okay, that was a stretch, but welcome to something that's even more of a stretch, okay? This one is like, it's not deep, nor is it really like, if you're thinking of what I made, you're not thinking the mask.
Why do you bash your own food? Before
Every time, I'm like, buddy, you nailed it. Let's not even do mine. I was panicking when I was watching this movie because literally nothing was speaking to me.
Same with me.
Nothing was coming out at me here, man, except when I heard that the mask is the mask of Loki. Okay, it's like a mythology thing. It's like the Norse god of fire or something.
Okay, we're getting
wrong. Don't Google that. I don't know. I don't think that's right. But it's called the mask of Loki. That's why the mask had all these mystical powers.
Oh.
When I hear Loki, I think gnocchi. Okay, that's where I went with this.
Okay, so see, I didn't even hear that they said that in the movie.
But that's why I literally was like, okay, every scene that was happening, I'm like, I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting anything.
Same with me, man.
And I was like, do I go for the obvious, like green, something green?
Or the
here?
yellow zoot suit?
Yes.
I was going to do something yellow. I was like,
you could have gone in that direction. But I did
super cute top.
It's a dress.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I went gnocchi here because
Okay.
when I hear certain things, I just think foods. I don't know why, okay? But so I went gnocchi, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm not even including this recipe in the description because it ain't worth it, okay? The sauce this is a roasted squash sauce, okay? We're finally approaching, or no, we are getting into fall now. It is fall here
Yeah.
in Canada. Squash, to me, screams fall. So I wanted to do a roasted squash sauce. This could be good on anything, any kind of pasta.
I never get sick of that.
Me neither.
Ever.
And it's something that you can do on the grill, and it's like a set it and forget it. You chop up all your veg. You got some onions, some roasted garlic. Those were your shallots from your garden. And then you just put it over indirect heat on the grill for about like 30 to 45 minutes on medium, and it just roasts away and those flavors caramelize. This part's good. The gnocchi, have you made gnocchi before?
I have.
Has it been successful?
They always either fall apart or they're too chewy.
Okay.
That's my problems with it. I'm like, I'd rather just put a box of pasta in some water.
100% agree. I will say mine came out textbook perfect.
So what's your problem?
I didn't enjoy the process.
Okay, what?
Okay, I didn't enjoy the process. It was way too time consuming. It did take me, I will tell you, it took me 2 rounds. The first round, I ditched it halfway because I was like, you can tell, like when you're making doughs, you can tell if something's working or not, and it wasn't working my first round. So you know how sometimes, I don't know if you've ever done this, but you can tell something's not working, and then you just power through anyway. And then it's like a waste of time. It's so disappointing.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to cut my losses now. I'm going to restart, okay? So I restarted the potatoes again. This is good to do with like a leftover mashed potato, but I didn't have that. So I restarted it, and it did work. It did pan out. They were literally picture perfect. They were pillowy. They were soft. Like they boiled up in like 3 minutes. Like so you know when you put them in the water, they sink for a little bit, and then they rise to the top?
That's when you know they're done.
They didn't explode. Like, you know, sometimes I've made them before where they've like disintegrated into the water.
Yeah.
They were picture perfect, but I personally don't find this worth it at all. I wouldn't make that again. I don't recommend you make it again. That's why I'm not including the recipe. But this sauce is spectacular.
And a sauce like that, you can make it and leave it in the fridge all week to have late. That's good, a meal prep sauce.
Exactly.
Leave it in the fridge all week.
Leave it in the fridge, freeze it for some other time that you're like busy and you're on the run. And this is something that you want to get out the food processor for. You don't want to do it on its own. Just let it do its thing. I added some almond milk. But you could do it with cream, you could do it with whatever. I added almond milk and then added burrata to the top. So it's not like I was trying to go dairy-free here. But look at that texture. Does that all look spectacular?
Yeah, it looks delicious. And it is kind of giving mask colors.
Kind of, but that's what I'm talking about. It's an absolute stretch here. But I just wanted to also make this too.
Okay, so I don't know if you knew this, but Jim Carrey's makeup for this movie took about 4 hours. And Cameron Diaz said working with him was not unlike visiting an insane asylum because he is so over the top.
I could see it.
Yeah.
That's why this movie in itself, it's not my favorite Jim Carrey movie. It's very campy, and that ain't my style. Like the over the top, like the cheesy smoking.
I remember when we were kids.
What's like?
That's a spicy meatball.
Yes.
I'm like, when we were kids, I remember annoying little boys saying that at every recess.
Well,
it brought back a lot of
those annoying boys that are men right now that are watching that are like, I said it.
That brought back a lot of memories, that movie. And can I just say, okay, so first of all, I loved Milo. The scenes with Milo were my favorite.
He's a little cutie patootie.
Apparently, he was very difficult to wrangle on the set of
That's what they say, don't work with kids and pets.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're an actor.
Exactly.
It's not ideal.
And can I just tell you that the very end, where that like evil guy got the mask, and then
That guy that version was terrifying.
it was absolutely terrifying.
As a kid, I was scared of this, and it still holds true today. I was scared.
Yeah, so was I, and I thought like I literally this movie so dated itself, because in the very end when he almost had like world domination and then was like a typical guy being led around by his, and like Cameron Diaz like had to kiss him, and he was just like, it was over. I couldn't believe that. I'm like, what?
Cameron Diaz, though, in this movie,
Yeah,
absolute gorge. Did you know that she started off as a model?
Yes, I did know
Anna
that.
Nicole Smith was supposed to be in her position in this movie, and she was doing a different movie, so she wasn't able to be part of it. So they hired Cameron Diaz, who was just at the time a gorgeous model. But who would have ever thought that girl would like rise to like the A-list celebrity status and like the phenomenal actress that Cameron Diaz is? Like, it's just so crazy to see her back then just being like this gorgeous girl, and then look at what her career developed into.
Apparently they made her audition for that role 12 times.
Why?
Because she didn't have any acting experience, and they really wanted to make sure that she knew what she was going to be doing.
I could see that, though, because that is a massive risk. So, like, back then, I feel like they took much more risks, like many more risks when it comes to movies. Now it's like you have to have a sure thing.
But let's face it, she got that part because of how attractive she looked.
Do you blame them?
No.
She's stunning in that movie.
Yep, she absolutely is.
Now, can we talk about how stunning this is? It wasn't worth it, but it looks good.
It looks fantastic.
And it's a vegetarian dish, so it doesn't have any meat in it. I personally like this as a side dish. I would never eat this as a main, even though it does have some pecans on there, so it does have like some protein in it. But I love it as a main. I had this on the side of some grilled sausages. The combo, the fall vibes, so good. Does it reflect the movie The Mask? Absolutely not.
No. I was trying to think of any reason why I could give it to you, honey, but it doesn't really.
But you know what? That's the cool thing about this series, is that you're going to find inspiration when it comes to food from anywhere. So I heard Loki, I heard gnocchi, I was making myself some gnocchi. It doesn't have to necessarily be like fully from the movie. I did not have plans to make gnocchi. I saw this movie, and that's how it happened. That's why I love this show so much, because it takes you in a weird direction sometimes.
And watching that movie was a trip down memory lane.
Mm-hmm. It had such a good vibe.
Yeah.
Now, flavors of this dish, like I said, gnocchi, picture perfect, textbook perfect. They were pillowy, they were soft, they were wonderful. The sauce was like silky, and it really went nice with the pillowiness of the gnocchi. But again, I don't think it's worth it. I really don't.
I don't really know if watching this movie is that worth it. It's a classic, but it's like it didn't hold my attention.
Me neither.
For the entire movie.
Me neither. Although that dance scene, I loved that scene.
That's
my favorite scene.
Really? My favorite scene was when he was in jail and Milo got the key. I just love anything with animals. I mean, I was like,
imagine how many takes that took.
Yeah, I love the scenes with Milo. If you could make a dish inspired by the Jim Carrey movie, The Mask, let us know what it would be in the comments below. And if you have a movie that you want us to make a dish from, let us know that as well.
Also, our live cooking show is now on Thursdays. Thursdays. We hope that you're going to be able to tune in and continue on with all of our delectable fun.